Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning into the Beehive Book Awards session for UELMA this year. My name is Mariah Wall. I am the president of the Children's Literature Association of Utah, and I am so excited to be introducing you to the 2022 nominees. Before we get started, I wanted to apologize in advance. I, like so many others, am a working parent during the time of COVID, so I have a baby in the background and dogs in the hallway, and if those sounds filter in a little bit, I apologize in advance. I hope you can be patient with me. For those of you who are new and don't know what the Beehive Book Awards are, this is Utah's only Children's Choice Award for literature. We have several categories, and every year groups of teachers, librarians, and parents sort through tens and tens of books to find what they think will be the best books for kids this year, that kids will like the most, that have literary quality, that show diverse characters and authors, and but ultimately have great kid appeal. So they're great to add to your library, and let's get started so you can see this year's nominees. We're going to start with the children's fiction category. So this are novels that are appropriate for children's about ages 8 to 12. First up, we have Blackbird Girls by Anne Blankman. Two girls are living in Russia when a nuclear power plant explodes and changes their lives. And this is a Sydney Taylor Honor book, so you know it's going to have great disability coverage in it. Okay, the next is The Boy Who Grew Dragons by Andy Shepard. A boy discovers odd fruit from a tree in his grandfather's garden only to have a dragon hatch from the fruit. As you can see, this one's going to be great for those our younger chapter book readers. Next up is Fighting Words by Kimberly Brubaker Bradley. Two sisters struggle through trauma, go into foster care, and learn how to process all that happened in their lives. Next up is The Great Pet Heist by Emily Ecton and David Mottram. When a mishap occurs, a group of pets must go to great lengths to make sure they will have the food they need. Homerooms and Hall Passes by Tom O'Donnell. In a magical realm, a group of mythical creatures role play as an average American 8th graders to relax until a spell sends them to our world. So this is kind of an opposite of role play. If you have any Magic the Gathering or Dungeons and Dragons fans, they might like this book. Next up is How to Make Friends with the Sea by Tanya Guerrero. A boy struggles with fears as he and his mom move from country to country, but when his mother takes in an orphan, he learns how to be strong and face his fears. Next up, My Life as a Potato by Arian Costner. Ben Hardy believes that he is cursed by potatoes, and then he moves to Idaho, where he sprains the ankle of the school mascot, a spud, and has to take on the persona. If you like kids that like Diary of a Wimpy Kid, they're probably going to like this book. Next up is Ways to Make Sunshine by Renee Watson. A young girl is determined to make sunshine out of tough situations, especially when money gets tight around her family's house and they have to move. Willa and the Whale by Chad Morris and Shelley Brown. After losing her mom, Willa makes a friend with a whale who offers her friendship and advice. And finally, Wink by Rob Harrell. Ross Malloy just wants to fit in, but when he becomes diagnosed with a rare eye cancer, he can't help but stand out. And those are our children's fiction nominees for 2022. I hope you get really excited about those chapter books. Next up is our picture books. And there is a really great slew of books that I'm excited to show you about. First is The Box Turtle. This is written and illustrated by Vanessa Reuter. Terrence is on the lookout for a new shell after someone makes fun of him for his makeshift box one. Then, In a Jar by Deborah Marcero. Two little rabbits use jars to learn about the power of memory and friendship. I recently used In a Jar in a lesson, not even knowing it was on this list, and it's a really beautiful book. Let's All Creep Through Crocodile Creek by Johnny Lambert. Mouse assures Rabbit that they have never seen a croc on Crocodile Creek. However, they do encounter lots of bumps, scratchy thorns, and more as they explore. Then Lift by Min Lee and illustrated by Dan Santat. Iris discovers new realms of possibility when a mysterious elevator button appears. If you know Dan Santat's work, you know these illustrations are amazing. Naughty Ninja Takes a Bath by Todd Tarpley and illustrated by Vin Vogel. Naughty Ninja is always there to save his dad from danger, especially during bath time. Rita and Ralph's Rotten Day by Carmen Agradidi and illustrated by Pete Oswald. Two friends meet under the apple tree for fun and games every day. Discover what happens when the game ends poorly and someone has to be the one to apologize. And next, Snail Crossing by Corey R. Tabor. Why did the snail cross the road? To get to the cabbage on the other side. Find out the importance of friendship when this snail has trouble crossing the road. And finally, Solway by Lupita Nyong'o and illustrated by Vashti Harrison. Solway is the color of midnight. She wishes to be brighter like others around her. A magical story unfolds to open Solway's eyes to her own beauty. Next up is Swim, Swim, Sink by Jen Harney. One little duck is not like the others. Discover the duck's imaginative ways to solve a sinking problem. Then to finish up our list, When Pencil Met Eraser by Karen Kilpatrick and Luis O. Ramos Jr. and illustrated by German Blanco. Pencil is rather annoyed when Eraser seems to think he is improving his artwork. See how they resolve their differences and learn to work together. That was my baby asking for attention. Next up is our informational book. I'm going to pull up that list now. I'm really excited about those picture books. I think there's a really great spread of illustrations and topics, things that we can use in our classrooms as well. Okay, here we go with our informational books. First up is Flight for Freedom, the Wetzel family's daring escape from East Germany. Next is Dancing Hands, how Teresa Carreño played the piano for Oh my goodness, I didn't even read the description for Flight for Freedom. I apologize. Growing up in East Germany, Peter doesn't get to watch cartoons, wear blue jeans, or stay out late, but he hopes for better. His family is secretly building a hot air balloon. Will they be able to fly to freedom? Remember, these are informational books, so they are all true, which makes some of these stories really, really exciting. Next is Dancing Hands, how Teresa Carreño played the piano for President Lincoln by Margarita Engel and illustrated by Rafael Lopez. Playing the piano brings Teresa peace despite revolution, being forced from her home in Venezuela and the Civil War in her new home, the United States. When President Lincoln invites her to play at the White House, can she bring peace to others through her music? Cubs in the Tub, the true story of the Bronx Zoo's first woman zookeeper. This is written by Candace Fleming and illustrated by Julie Downing. When her zookeeper husband brings home a lion cub, he tells Helen, just do for him what you would do with a human baby. And before she knows it, Helen has become foster mom to dozens of baby wildcats. Next up is Facts versus Opinions versus Robots by Michael Rex. Do you know the difference between a fact and an opinion? Join a group of robots as they discover what you can prove and what you can't. I think many of us would feel that this book is very, very timely and would be very useful, especially in library classrooms. Hay Water by Antoinette Portis. Water is all around us, but it doesn't always look the same. Join a young girl as she discovers many different forms of water. The illustrations in this book are particularly beautiful. The Oldest Student, How Mary Walker Learned to Read by Rita L. Hubbard and illustrated by Oge Mora. Imagine learning to read at age 116. Mary Walker was born into slavery and even after gaining her freedom had to work very hard all her life. This left no time for school. Discover her incredible life and journey. Packs, Strength in Numbers by Hannah Salyer. Packs, herds, pods, and more discover how togetherness and teamwork help animals and humans alike to live and thrive. Soldier for Equality, Jose de la Luz Sáenz and the Great War by Duncan Tonatia. From teacher to soldier to intelligence office, Jose used his education and used his education and knack for languages to help protect the country he loved. But prejudice followed him, denying him the credit and equality he deserved. Discover how he used his skills to overcome obstacles and gain greater equality for the Latinx community. If you know Duncan Tonatia, you know this is an excellent book. Pluto Gets the Call by Adam Rex and illustrated by Laurie Keller. I am a huge fan of Adam Rex ever since he did The True Meaning of Smek Day. If you've seen the movie Home, you'll know that story. He's very funny and a great writer. Pluto loves being a planet. Then one day, some scientists from Earth tell him he isn't a planet anymore. Join Pluto as he tours the solar system and discovers that there's more to him than a scientist's label. And to finish off our list, we have Reaching for the Moon, the autobiography of Katherine Johnson by Katherine G. Johnson. Ability and opportunity don't always go hand in hand. For Katherine, it took hard work, courage, and tenacity, along with her natural brilliance with math, to get her into NASA. Next up, we're going to talk about the children's graphic novels, and I'm going to pause and grab my kid. This year, we're really excited about the graphic novels because we have created 2 lists. Our awesome graphic novel committee found 5 graphic novels that they thought would appeal to children in elementary school, and then went above and beyond and found 5 more that would appeal to junior high students and high school students. So we're going to start with the children's graphic novels. And I just need to pull up the annotations so I can tell you about what all of these books are about. And here we go. This is Alice, by the way. Thank you for being patient with us. First up is Anti-Hero by Kate Carias-Quinn and Demetria Lunetta. When a mission to steal an experimental technological device brings Piper and Sloan face to face, the device sparks and the 2 girls switch bodies. Next up is Fox and Rabbit by Beth Ferry. Easygoing fox and anxious rabbit seem like total opposites, but somehow they make the perfect pair. Major Impossible by Nathan Hale. In 1869, John Wesley Powell embarked with the Colorado River exploring expedition to float through the Grand Canyon. 10 explorers went in, but only 6 came out. If you're familiar with Hazardous Tales, this is a great series of graphic novels about that really bring fun informational stories to life. Next is P.B. and J Stuck Together by Brian Smitty Smith. When a thunderstorm bounces P off course, he meets 2 unlikely new buds, a bee named B and a bird named J. And finally, When Stars Are Scattered by Victoria Jameson and Omar Mohammed. Omar lives in a refugee camp, and when an opportunity for an education comes along, he must decide between going to school or caring for his nonverbal brother. This is a heartwarming story with beautiful illustrations. Victoria Jameson did Roller Girl and All's Fair in Middle School, I believe is what it's called. She's a really great illustrator, and this story is really timely. Our next list is for the young adult graphic novels. I'm so excited that this is the first year we get to do this, and because we know how much our teenagers love to read graphic novels. First up is Becoming RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg's Journey to Justice by Debbie Levy. She started as a child who questioned unfairness, evolving throughout her life until she became a judge who revered the rule of law. This graphic novel is a great homage to this icon. Bloom by Kevin Panetta. While interviewing candidates for his replacement at the family bakery, Ari meets Hector, and as they become closer, love is ready to bloom. That is, if Ari doesn't ruin everything. Catherine's War by Julia Billet and Claire Favell. As France buckles under the Nazi regime, budding photographer Rachel Cohen must change her name, go into hiding, and bear witness to the atrocities of World War II. Superman Smashes the Klan by Jean Luen Yang. When the Klan of the Fiery Cross attacked Dr. Lee's family, newly arrived in Metropolis, Superman comes to save the day. And finally, They Called Us Enemy by George Takei. Takei's first-hand account of years spent in a Japanese concentration camp and the way those experiences planted the seeds for his astonishing future. This book is so important for Utah history. We're really excited to introduce it to a lot more teens. Okay, I had to pause to set up my child, and I'm back. We're going to do poetry. This is a great list with a lot of fun books on it. First up is Common Critters, The Wildlife in Your Neighborhood. This book is by Pat Brisson and illustrated by Dan Tavis. A familiar cast of characters crawls, runs, buzzes, and flits through these lively poems, which shows how exotic these seemingly ordinary creatures really are. The Day the Universe Exploded in My Head. Poems that take you into space and back again. This book is by Alan Wolfe and illustrated by Anna Raff. Hang on tight for a raucous bounce through the solar system and back, propelled by funny, fanciful, factually sound poems and exuberant illustrations. Next is On the Horizon by Lois Lowry and illustrated by Kennard Pack. If you know a Lois Lowry can never do any wrong. This is a great book. It's a moving account of lives lost in two of World War II's most infamous events, Pearl Harbor and Hiroshima. This book is a great way to show how both sides suffered loss in war and there's really no winners. In the Woods by David Elliott and illustrated by Rob Dunlavey. This book is a love letter to the animals of the forest. And finally, our last poetry book is Dictionary for a Better World, Poems, Quotes, and Anecdotes from A to Z by Irene Latham and Charles Waters and illustrated by Merdockt Amini. This inspiring resource for middle grade readers is organized as a dictionary. Each entry presents a word relating to creating a better world. In a world that is asking so many of us to be activists and to recognize the problems and hard and difficult things of our society, this is a great book to inspire children to action. Okay, finally, we have our young adult fiction list. I'm really excited about this list. They were very thoughtful about including books that would appeal to even our 7th and 8th graders. So there's a great spread of age ranges on this list. First up is The Inheritance Games. Avery Grams has a plan for a better future, survive high school, win a scholarship, and get out. But her fortunes change in an instant when billionaire Tobias Hawthorne dies and leaves Avery virtually his entire fortune. To receive her inheritance, Avery must move into sprawling secret passage in riddle-filled Hawthorne House. Caught in a world of wealth and privilege with danger around every turn, Avery will have to play the game herself just to survive. Bone Crier's Moon by Catherine Purdy. Bone Criers are the last descendants of an ancient family charged with using the magic they draw from animal bones to shepherd the dead into the afterlife. Elise has been prepared since birth to become their matriarch, but first she must complete her rite of passage to kill the boy she's destined to love. Ooh. These next two are for older readers. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. The case is closed. 5 years ago, Andy Bell was murdered by Salsing. The police know he did it. Everyone in town knows he did it. Almost everyone. Having grown up in the small town that was consumed by the crime, Pippa Fitz-Adeleke chooses the case as the topic for her final project. But when Pip starts uncovering secrets, someone in the town desperately wants them to stay hidden. Frankly in Love by David Yoon. High school senior Frank Lee takes a risk to go after a girl his parents would never approve of. But his plans will leave him wondering if he ever really understood love or himself at all. Identity, family, secrets, sacrifice, and first love come together in this fun, thoughtful novel. Thorn by Intizar Kanani. A reluctant princess must decide between a life of anonymity and facing dangerous foes. This is a fantasy retelling of the Goose Girl fairy tale that follows the experiences of betrothed Princess Alira, who is robbed of her identity by a mysterious sorceress and compelled to make a dangerous choice. When the Ground is Hard by Mala Nun. At Swaziland's Keziah Christian Academy, where the wealth and color of one's father determines one's station, once popular Adele bonds with poor Lottie over a book and a series of disasters. The Paper Girls of Paris by Jordan Taylor. Inheriting a Parisian apartment that was abandoned after World War II, Alice teams up with a charming student to uncover the story of a long-lost great-aunt who hid her work with the resistance behind the persona of a socialite Nazi collaborator. A tale of loss, lies, and resistance that unfolds across time. Lost and Found by Orson Scott Card. Ezekiel Blast has a micro-power that helps him locate lost items, but he needs to find new ways to use his abilities when police ask him to help him find a kidnapped girl in this multi-layered mystery story. I'll Be the One by Lila Lee. Sky Shin has been told she can't and shouldn't do things because she is fat, and sadly her mom has reinforced this idea. Sky decides to prove the world wrong when she auditions and wins a place on a televised K-pop competition. Follow along as Sky shatters expectations. And last, Verify by Joelle Charbonneau. Chicago teen Mary Beckley's pride of living in a land of peace, prosperity, and truth crumbles when questions following her mother's death reveal buried facts, especially that words can have great power. As Mary tries to untangle the work her mother was doing before she died, she discovers there is more going on in and below the city than meets the eye. So those are 2022 nominees. We're really excited about this list, and we hope that you will add them to your library collections and start peddling them to your students and your patrons. If you want to be involved in joining in creating the next year's Beehive Book Awards list, you need to become a member of CLAW. It's $15. It's probably the cheapest professional association you can join. I apologize. She's hungry. And you could join committee members. You could join the board. We have a couple openings coming up, and you can learn more about that at our website, www.clawbeehive.org. And then also I wanted to remind everyone that voting for the 2021 award winners ends April 1st. We've had some problems with our voting forms. We've updated them multiple times, and yet they still seem to revert back. But we are working on fixing it so that you can get your votes in. We want as many votes as possible. And this year we're continuing with our school library challenge, where the school with the most votes per student wins $500 worth of Beehive books, and they get to host a traveling trophy, which we're going to restart now that most schools are open. So CLAW is a really great organization. You will collaborate with people who are just as passionate about Kidlit as you are. You get access to a lot of great collection development resources. We're moving our stickers for spine labels into our members' resources as a printable PDF. So that will be available to all of our members soon, and lots of good things coming down the pipe for CLAW. Thank you for listening to our nominee list. We'll have a trifold uploaded to our website that you can print out and give to your students. If you would like to contact any of us with questions, my contact information is on our website. Thanks, and have a great time at UELMA this year.